We are here with the head football coach of the Normal Community Ironman, Jason Drengwitz. And Coach, coming off an impressive win over Bloomington, just give us your overall thoughts about your win on Friday night.
Yeah, I think we're really excited about the fact that we were able to come out with a win. You know, winning's hard. You never want to take those things for granted. It's even harder when you go on the road. It's even harder when you play a crosstown rival that's really, really good in that type of environment. So to be able to get out of there with a win, happy for our kids, happy for our coaching staff, and I thought we did a lot of things really, really well, but I do think there's definitely some things that we have to clean up to get better and improve throughout the year. But puts us in a position where all our goals are still in place, and it was an exciting night for football for Normal Community, but I think for the inner city in general, just having that atmosphere over there at Fred Carlton Field playing Bloomington, and they're a very good team, so we feel blessed that we got out of there with a win.
Talk about the atmosphere from Friday. Do you take a second to soak that in? Do you allow the players to take a second to soak it in, or is it focus, hey, here's what we need to get done tonight?
I think, we messaged all week and even Friday that make sure we take some time to enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the environment. And we've talked about it before in rivalry games. Like, not everybody gets to play in front of crowds like that. We need to make sure we appreciate that and don't take it for granted. But we also have to not allow that to overwhelm us and influence us and allow us to take care of business as usual. I thought our guys did a really good job of that for the most part. A couple times our emotions got the best of us in those environments. We got to continue to work on improving there, but it was a great atmosphere. It was just great to see everybody out there to watch that game.
Talk about your team's ability to be able to run the football and what a big part of that was in picking up the victory on Friday night.
Yeah, I think we've been running the ball really, really well this year, consistently against really everybody that we played. And anytime you can run the ball and control the line of scrimmage, it's definitely going to lead to hopefully being successful. I would say we ran the ball well, but one of the things that we got to make sure we improve on, we got to finish drives. 3 times they stopped us on 4th down, and we just got to be better at executing in those moments and just trusting our technique and our fundamentals. But Kalen's done an outstanding running the ball hard and physical and being tough to bring down. And up front, we've been doing a nice job being physical and kind of being able to win and control the line of scrimmage, allow him to have that success.
Well, Coach, talk about the guys you have up front on that offensive line and how much improvement you've seen so far this year in that area.
Well, I think, when you start with our offensive line, you're really talking about the guys that returners. I think Braden Masanowski and Reed Johnson have done an outstanding job being the leaders of that O-line. Gabe Nege has stepped in at right tackle and just continued to get better and better. I think Friday was a learning experience for him, as it should be as a new guy to football. Mason Caraway's been really solid for us at center as a junior, and then Alden Wagner at left tackle. They've all done really, really good things. And to be successful and win games, you have to be good on the offensive defensive line, and I think we have that. But we still have a lot of room to improve and get better on. If you go back and look at the game, just a couple of moments in there where just first step and hand placement and head placement, we just got to clean that up because we got to be better in those things. But those guys, and then you had Gavin Sheeler at tight end, Brady Wolf at tight end. They've done a really, really good job. And I think it goes back to also how they practice now. They prepare daily as we head into games.
So we talked offensively. If we switch to the defensive end, the Raiders haven't had a game under 41 points all season until last week when Community held them at 14. What went into the success for your squad on the defensive end Friday?
Well, Zach, I would say probably 3 things. One, I thought we had a really good game plan going in and be able to make sure we were doing different things based on their personnel. Whether they had no tight ends, 1 tight end, or 2 tight ends really dictated what we did defensively, and I thought that was really good. Number 2, I thought we had an outstanding week of practice dialed into the game plan and be able to do those things in practice well. And then 3, I thought we were really physical and ran to the ball on Friday night, and we were able to almost make them one-dimensional. I think they had 14 yards rushing, and we forced them into the passing game, which they made some plays in the passing game. But anytime you can make a team, one-handed or one-dimensional where they feel like they got to only do one thing, I feel like that's good. So I thought that was really the keys to the game. They've run the ball so effectively all year and been so good at it for us to be able to kind of control that part of the game. And I think when we talked last week, we thought that was one of the keys. And just our defensive front did a really, really good job in the run game.
Yeah, obviously it was 2 undefeated teams in the Big 12, so a big game for the conference. Now the Ironmen are the only team with an undefeated conference record. How does it feel to have a commanding lead in the Big 12, but still knowing there's 3 conference games to go?
It feels good from the standpoint that your goal is in place to be in contention and win a conference title. But we also don't really talk about that much. Now it's got to be on to Danville. It's a good feeling, but it really doesn't mean anything or really matter in the long scheme because we still have, like you said, those 3 conference games, and we got to have we got to continue to get better. There's still lots of things that we need to get better in all 3 phases if we want to continue to be successful. Then they'll hopefully have some success in the postseason.
Yeah, you talk about Danville. That's going to be a home game, and it's the Ironmen's first home game in about 4 weeks now. How excited are you to take to the field with the community crowd backing your football?
Yeah, I think we're really excited. And like you said, it feels like we've been on the road forever. So it's always exciting to get to play in front of our student section and our home fans, etc. Even though our turnout on Friday night at Bloomington was outstanding from a student standpoint, a fan standpoint. It'll be excited to do that. It'll be excited to get back in a normal home game routine where, tapings at this time, meeting at this time, early outs at this time. So excited about that. And just excited to play a Danville team whose record may not indicate how good they are, but they're just a typical Danville team where they do what they do. They do it really well. They're physical, they're athletic, and they're well coached. And we have to play really well to beat them.
So you talked about road and home a little bit. Any difference in preparation going on the road than there is at home? And anything that you guys talk about differently between those two? Is it pretty much the same routine that is in practice each week?
So we don't talk differently about just our approach to the game and how we prepare. Nothing really differs road versus home. The only thing, Joel, that really changes is just our kind of like our game day itinerary on a Friday. We actually did it when we play in town or inner city rivals. We do all our taping meetings, walkthroughs at normal, and then bus over for early outs, where other long road games, we do all that once we get there. So really, to me, the only difference is that Friday schedule. Nothing really changes. We talked about the environment of the game, but more just being excited about it, anything like that.
Yeah, so you talked about Danville. Obviously, the record doesn't really indicate how they are. They came off that 44-31 win against Champaign Central. Can you speak on the strengths of the team that led to that season-preserving victory?
Well, I feel like if we probably went back and looked at any time we've talked about Danville in my tenure as the head coach here, we're probably saying a lot of the same things about them. And I do not mean this as disrespect at all. They're very simple in what they do, but they do it really, really well. And they're physical, they're athletic, they got guys that can make plays, they got guys can run people down, they can return kicks. And I think what allows them to handle that game and win and control it is they're never going to go away from who they are and what their identity is offensively or defensively or special teams. They don't panic, and they just keep on with what they do. Coach Forrest, tremendous amount of respect for them and what they do. And if you go back and look at the history of us playing, they've always played us well. We had 3 years ago, we had to beat them in triple overtime, and that was a game to get, if we don't lose that game, puts our playoff appearance in jeopardy. You go back 2 years before that, we had to convert a 4th and 10 in our own territory. That ended up being a 90-yard touchdown pass or 80-yard touchdown pass that got us to a victory. And their kids just have a tremendous amount of pride and tremendous belief in what they do, and we know we're going to have our hands full. We got to approach it the right way. I love playing against Danville. I love when we go to Danville. And they got a beautiful new facility now over there. But they're going to be excited to play us. They're going to put their best foot forward and give us everything we got. We got to have a great week of practice, and we have to prep the right way.
Well, Coach, what do you want to see from your team on Friday night here to pick up a victory?
Well, one, I want to see that this week in practice we don't have a drop-off in our intensity level just because we're not playing an inner-city rival. I think that's going to be the number one key thing in how we approach the week. Number two, I want our guys to be excited to be playing at home. Offensively, I think we got to continue. We got to get better at finishing drives and converting 4th and 3rd downs, which if you look at our 3rd down conversion rate, it's not been that good this year, and 4th downs have been the same thing. That's a lot of last week. We got to throw the ball better. We got to be more efficient how we throw. Defensively, we got to tighten up some things in our pass defense. Bloomington did throw for, I think, 264 yards against us. Not a lot of that was they threw the ball a lot. AJ made great throws, our guys made great plays, but we got to shore up our technique, our fundamentals, and our eyes. And then finally, I'd say we just got to continue winning the special teams game, because I thought that was a big deal on Friday. The way we pressured punts, how we punted, how we covered kicks, how we returned kicks was all a really big deal. So we got to continue to do those things to be successful against them.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time. We wish you the best of luck on Friday night.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate all the coverage.